So, we are here with some exciting battery news. Put together a little slide deck to go over just in general understanding battery installs. So, this will be some good all around info for everybody to keep in mind when we are out in the field and you're meeting with homeowners and just doing the old classic walk around and saying, hey, where do you want this stuff? We're going to slap the panels on the roof, obviously, where it's sunny, but if you're going to have a battery, there's a little bit of wall space required. So what do you do with it? By now, we all should understand energy storage system, ESS 101. This is the way that we capture sunlight and save it for later. So shouldn't be news to anybody. If it is, great. Hey, welcome. That's pretty exciting knowledge for you to just be hearing about for the first time. But this is really all about, again, just providing the homeowner the maximum value for the solar that they're producing. Because when you use it in the home, that is how you get the absolute maximum ROI on it. If you're sending it to the grid, you're losing your standing with the utility because they're going to pay you whatever the hell they want. So use it in the home. Self-consumption versus backup. Again, this shouldn't be news to anybody, but just for the sake of when a battery has a backup interface, that's the only time you can have power when the grid is down. So just keep that in mind. If it's a self-consumption only battery, that is for using the sun power when the grid is up, just like normal solar, basically.
I think it's important now, Danny. We hear grid tied batteries, right, as a
Yes,
phrasing. So,
yes.
what do you, for the audience, what does that mean?
That's an
Grid
excellent
tied.
question. Yes, let's go back to that. So, grid tied is basically any time you have a utility meter, you are grid tied. Everything that we're talking about is going to be a grid tied system. Now, when it comes to availability of grid power and how you use that and how you interact with the grid, right? Is that kind of where you're going? Am I leading you
Yeah,
leading the witness here, Brandon?
yeah. In the battery world, if we say we're grid tied, that means when the utility shuts down, so will your system. So you need to make sure that you understand that backup is going to be the only solution that provides you power when the grid goes down. That's one of the
Absolutely.
misconceptions happening at the dinner table right now when you're talking about batteries with a homeowner. So be very clear on that.
For sure. And yeah, that's something I think we've hit on a few times in previous webinars, but like this whole magical concept of I want to live off the grid. That's beautiful. What a dream. Wouldn't it be fantastic to all the utilities in the world and just say, we don't need you. We're living completely sustainable, self-sustaining, everything's great. Realistically, unfortunately, that's still not going to be the reality for most people, either from just a cost or a just lifestyle standpoint, basically. People use a lot of power. And as much as solar is this, magical power from the sky, there's still kind of an upper ceiling on what it can do. And battery storage certainly is part of that. But we've got more and more power in the batteries that we have in our lineup. That's something we'll tease here a little bit.
Mhm.
But so speaking of that, though, I mean, again, this is part of designing these battery systems for homeowners is sitting down with them at the dinner table, like you said, Brandon, and just understanding, hey, what are your goals? What do you want out of this, really? Are you just looking to save the most amount of money? Just go self-consumption. That's fine. Do you want to, protect yourself from these outages? You want security as well as savings? Great. Let's throw in one of these backup systems and give you a little bit of that, extra peace of mind so that you can run some of your more important, your favorite appliances during a grid outage event. So that's that. Okay, so now we're going to get to what to look for around the home and how to understand if there are any additional costs to a battery system, right? Because we do have some of these situations where it's going to require an adder of some kind. So do that walk around, be observant, look for certain things, and we'll have a visual aids on the next slides. Don't worry, there's a lot of words. You don't have to read everything, but ideally, most batteries are going to go outside. Sure, there's a lot of times where homeowners are like, oh yeah, just throw it in the garage. That's fine. I got plenty of space. That's fine too, but there are extra requirements there. So ideally, it's just going to be outside on the same wall or close to the main service panel. And more often than not, there's going to be enough wall space out there that we can do our job. But if there's a lot of obstructions or clearance issues, which we'll show some examples of that, you gotta be cognizant. You gotta talk to the homeowner too, and just say like, hey, you know what, this might be too tight of a squeeze given some of these obstructions or physical characteristics of the home. If it is inside a garage, again, don't don't try and say, oh yeah, we'll put a battery where you have all of, like the stuff that you were saving for the garage sale for the last 9 years or whatever. If there's a lot of crap in the garage, they are going to have to move it. We are not going to move it for them. They do need to make sure that they are putting stuff, out of the way for batteries. They do take up space. We also do need to add heat detection, basically a fancy smoke alert system that's going to be anytime it's an attached garage, so inside the same living structure under the same roof. We also may need to install what are called bollards, just cement blocks basically, to prevent whoever's trying to park in the garage from just smacking into the battery. Don't do that. That's a bad idea. So we can put up physical barricades.
Danny, if you
Yes,
don't mind me hopping in real
please.
quick, the
I
heat detection
don't.
equipment, it might, it might actually look like an alarm as well for your home. We had an instance last week where we were slightly confused on what was installed. That heat detection also pairs as an alarm. So just know that if there is a work order, make sure that the homeowner is aware it is from ESP.
Yeah, it's a little digital pad with an LCD screen on it. It's like this big, and it kind of can hang inside the house, and it's basically letting the people in the house know that something in the garage is too hot.
If you guys have photos of these, we love it. We'd love to see it. Send it over to marketing@joinesp, or reply back to the email you get from us here. We'd love to get any of those. Like if you have just a beautiful example of like, these batteries look so nice in this garage, love to see it. Love to see it. We have a lot of our, field techs will take photographs of all their installs, obviously. So that's where we've gotten a lot of these examples. But if you have one that's just like, chef's kiss, send it our way. We'll put it out there for everybody to enjoy and learn from. Lastly, on this screen, if we're doing backup, there is extra equipment on the wall, and we just got to make sure we got room for it. And if there's any time that we're moving a load from a main panel to a sub panel, there's going to be a load relocation adder. So that's just something else to keep in mind.
Cool. If I could add on to this,
please.
It's really one of these interesting things, guys and gals out there. We didn't expect to be running into not enough space on the wall to install all the batteries that y'all are selling. And it's this weird thing where, all of a sudden we're like, hey, we need to put this in the garage. And then there's like shelves in the garage. I know in my garage, it's full of crap, right? And a lot of people don't like moving that, right? And you got to like go through all your stuff and like all your Halloween boxes and your Christmas boxes and your whatever boxes.
Order.
Your old papers. Yeah, totally. Like hoarder, right?
Hey, I resemble that remark. All right.
And so really have an honest conversation with the homeowner and let them know like there's a lot of equipment and it's big and it's going to go in specific places. And, we don't want to have you, put together, a 2 or 3 battery system and then not have room for it someplace in the house. So really, really take this seriously. This is a new added piece of the puzzle that we have to like be conscious of when we're, like Brandon said, at the kitchen table, putting these systems together to make sure that it's the right system for the homeowner.
Yeah. Ultimately, it's a very similar conversation that you should be having about total roof space for panels.
Totally.
Like, don't just paint the giant square over the roof and say, yeah, we give it 40 panels. No problem, bro. Peace. Sign here. All right, we'll see you. Don't do that, because if we come back and we say, you can only fit 20, man, where do you want them? Like, have those honest, direct conversations with people and have that like, hey, we can fit 20 panels, we can fit 2 or 3 batteries out here, we've done the checks. And one of the other things too is like, if a homeowner absolutely does not want a battery somewhere, tell us. We can usually accommodate do not want. But if it's a, hey, I really, really, really want them in a certain place, that can be a little tricky for us, honestly, just because there's a lot of codes that we do have to follow. And so if you just tell us like, don't put it here and free up the places where we can, that's usually easier for us. So
Yeah.
just something to keep in mind.
Cool.
All right. Got a couple examples from our friends at Enphase, because these are the batteries that we've installed the most of at this point. And this is just directly from Enphase for their work that they've been doing with AHJs across the state, across the country. Basically everywhere in California, for the most part, we can space batteries in these type of configurations. So this is just when you got up to 20 kilowatts. So that's going to be 4 Enphase 5Ps. You can do them in any kind of Tetris-y configuration just like this. So if you only have 2 batteries, cool, you can just do these 2, or you can do, whatever. If you got 3, you can do like a, little leg like that or whatever, that's all well and good. As soon as we get into greater than 20 kilowatt hours, that's where there's going to be a little bit of differentiation, specifically for LA County. They just want to batch out anything above each pod of 20 kilowatt hours has to be on its own, and you got to space the others out. So this is kind of the learning experience and the challenges that we've had, and we're now sharing the benefits of having worked with all of these AHJs. A lot of them are like, oh yeah, you're fine. These batteries are safe, and we understand that they're not going to explode and catch fire and everything like that. So you can stack them up pretty close. Originally they were like, no, every single one has to be 3 feet apart. And so that's where we're running into like, oh my God, if we have, 3 or 4, 5 batteries, like they have to be like just massive long wall space. It's a challenge. So these are good things. And again, we'll send this slide deck out so you can refer to it, but just kind of be thinking of where things will go when you're out in the field.
And again, for this one right here, or Danny, this is the 5P. These are the Enphase ones that you're looking at. So like if you look at that top left example right there, that's 5 batteries. Let's say the battery's 2.5 feet wide. That's 5, 10, 12.5 feet plus the 6 inches between each one, which is 13, 14, 15, 16 feet almost of space on a wall with no windows, with no doors, with no obstructions, right? And so like doing the math is going to be a specific type of thing. So
I'll make everybody can take an official screenshot of this right now. I'll come up with the prettier version to share when you get
exactly.
Also important to know that we're not trying to get any closer to a gas meter. Like you said, obstructions,
right?
Like, this is still coming into play, guys, when you add batteries on the wall.
Yep. So. Yep, absolutely. So here's what we've got some examples of. So these are good examples. This was one of the earlier SolarEdge installs we did. As you can tell, they got the lot of the equipment is going to go over on this wall. We just tucked it around the corner for the battery, and they do have enough room. You could argue they could probably stack at least 1 or 2 more on that wall potentially. So yeah, that's a good example. All these are again Enphase, where we've got plenty of room. These 2, I think, again, this one had that 3-foot space, but we could have squoze it up unless it was in one of those like 4 cities that say no, you still got to space it out. Yeah. So these are good examples of we got room. We're not tight on space.
I think one cool thing about this slide, Danny, and you kind of referenced it with that SolarEdge battery, there's a downspout, right? That's water and electrical do not mix. So if you have a spigot or a downspout such as this, we have to have that minimum clearance, which is probably why it's shifted.
Why it's a little bit, yep, exactly. It's not hugged right up to it. There's probably about a 3-foot spacer there. That's a very good point.
Yep. Yeah,
absolutely. Okay. Oh, this is cool. We are going to be able to start sending these pre-visualizations. So this is kind of an AI example of, we took our site survey photo and threw all the equipment in virtual reality up on the wall and said, here's a rough outline of what it's going to look like to have all this stuff on the wall. We're going to be able to start sending these here pretty soon, so you and your customers can expect to see that before designs are in, and before we get to permitting and the homeowner's like, wait, whoa, where, what, no, I don't want it there, reel it back. So this will help us avoid a lot of those redraws and just make sure the homeowners are bought in and understand.
Where was this 10 years ago when I started solar?
Right? Man, we live in the future right now, man. Welcome to it. It's pretty exciting times. So yeah, keep an eye out for these. I believe will be, I mean, really should be any day now. I think we're raring to go with those. So keep an eye out. And here's some bad examples. So these are just taken from Site Survey. We haven't installed yet, but here's that example of, this guy. If there was nothing back here, it's still going to be a little bit of a tight squeeze. There's some windows, there's some wells, there's maybe some, gas equipment, whatever. So just be aware of that. And, again, have that conversation with the homeowner, like, hey, what you doing with all these planter boxes back here, my friend? Can we kind of tidy up if we got to do that? And this
You could
one,
have told me my project was on hold without blasting it to everybody.
yeah,
Come on.
I'm sorry, man. Hey, look, we're all hoarders here in our own little way, in our own special way. But yeah, like here's an example. I had to take this example off of because I feel so bad for that poor dog. Look at that sad home for the dog, and it's blocking the main service panel. So this is a perfect example of like there's stuff in the way. There's a window on one side, there's a door on the other. There's maybe going to be room if we could like squeeze something in here, but probably not. Like this is going to be a tougher one to navigate. So again, have those conversations, understand with the homeowners, like people have lived in their homes for a long time, so they may be reluctant to move some of the stuff, but you got to have that realistic conversation. Hey, this is going to save you a lot of money. This is going to be a benefit. You're going to get the chance to do a little spring cleaning while you're at it too. So where's the harm? And let's go back. Okay, we got some interior examples. So this is, again, some end phase where we've got the nicely lined up on the wall there. These are high enough up off the ground. As you can tell, we didn't need to put any of the bollards in place to block anything. And here's an example of Solar Edge. So this one's a bit of a tricky story. So when we first came out and installed, we had them all lined up like this. They were all, on the wall like that. The homeowner came back to us and said, I really do not like them here. This was not communicated to me. I'm not, pleased with this layout. They ended up, they gave us kind of a nasty review, and we had to really work hard with them to get it corrected and get it to a place where they did like it. So we want to avoid that situation where we have to go back and do rework, especially a lot of heavy lifting. Each of these batteries weighs several 100 pounds, if I'm not mistaken. So there's a lot of work to move this stuff. We put it in place and it's not supposed to go anywhere ever. So please help us avoid those situations where we have to go back and do rework.
I think it's a good point though about ESP, right? We're not just there and done. Like we really wanted to work hard to make sure the homeowner's satisfied, even though they got the plans and we followed the plans.
Yep.
End result, homeowner satisfaction is where it's at.
Exactly. We want to make sure we're not leaving them. We leave everybody better than we found them, right? That's like one of our core values for sure. So yeah, again, just try and help us as much as possible, communicate with the homeowner, have those open lines of communication with project acceptance and design and all that. And yeah, again, everything we're putting in place, everything we've got in place is to streamline these experiences. Okay, well, now I think it's time to do some little bit of teasing. We'll have a handy guide for sizing your battery according to the utilities, but drum roll please here. We've got a new contender. We've got a new battery in our lineup as of this morning. Dun dun dun.
Ooh la la.
Where's the 2001 A Space Odyssey theme when I need it?
Yeah.
Dun, dun. We got the Powerwall 3. Ta-da! Pretty exciting. This is the hot ticket, I think, for a lot of homeowners, a lot of sales reps, obviously. And we are very lucky that we've secured some great pricing on this too, which we will have live. We'll send out an email after we wrap up here and get you that pricing. It is live in QuickBase. It is also live in LightReach. And we got a few of the others coming soon, working on like Sunrun and Everbright and all those. They're taking their time to get it into their AVL list, but yeah, pretty exciting. So we'll have this spec sheet in your hands. You can start selling it in, again, all of our loan products in QuickBase and LightReach. It is ready to go. So exciting times.
Yeah, Powerwall 3 does not exist on everybody's AVL, so there's going to be a select few partners who probably aren't going to have it just yet, but there are definitely some that have it right now. Powerwall 3 is pretty cool. Inverters built in, so less space on the wall. Super rad. There still will be some combiner boxes and different things that are connecting all the pieces and parts of the puzzle. It's slightly larger than your regular 10 kilowatt hour stack. I believe it's a 13.6, is if that's right.
13.5, I think.
13.5, okay. Off by 0.1. All
Point
good.
one,
I'll
man.
get it right one of these days. Also, key thing to remember here with Powerwall 3 is going to be it is a backup only, so no full self-consumption
Right.
for Powerwall. Right.
You'll
So
still get the benefits of self-consumption with it, but there's no self-consumption only option.
correct.
Like
Yeah.
you
So
said,
there
yeah.
will always be a percentage of the battery that will be set up for your homeowner to have backup capability or partial backup capability, which I
Right.
foresee probably a lot of folks doing in California. And so let's just say, 75% of the battery is going to be used for, arbitrage or grid tied action, but then 25% of that is going to be left over for backup if the grid goes down. And so you're going to have to set that up. Again, can't put an AC unit on there and have it be connected with just 25%. It's going to be, a few circuits in the house, unless you want this to be a whole home backup type system. Then you can add on those large loads.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, we're recommending at least 2 or 3 of these bad boys for the full main panel backup is what we're calling whole home
Yeah.
these days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exciting times. Tyler had a great question. Saying install using Powerwall 3 allows for no need of MPU. In general, at
Yeah.
how would you answer this?
Tyler,
MPUs are our favorite.
that is wishful thinking. Will it help in avoiding MPUs sometimes? Yeah, it will, because of the ability to backfeed more or less at specific places and specific times. Will
Yeah,
it avoid
adding
MPU?
any.
Go ahead, Danny.
Oh no, sorry. I was just going to say adding any battery in general is going to help avoid MPUs, but there's no such thing as like, yep, nope, no more MPUs ever again. It's that's in a
Yeah.
perfect world.
By the way,
Yes,
we wish that too.
we do
Um,
with all of our
we don't want
hearts.
to do them ever. But yeah, it's hopefully will help support all of us and not needing to go through that process. And we'll keep our eyes on it super close to see what percentage and where and how we can help support you guys in avoiding them in general.
For sure. Well, yeah, I mean, that's basically all I had, honestly. And my last slide was, hey, let's, we want to help people have an excellent energy experience, right? Exceptional energy experience. That's our mission statement. So yeah, just stay in communication with us, help us, make sure we're aligning on customer expectations and giving them just an amazing product on their home. It's gonna all these systems are gonna last for decades, and
Yeah.
batteries hopefully will last at least a decade or so, and depending on the warranty may vary according to the manufacturer. There's your fine print. Yeah.
I think there's some very important notes here about
Yes.
that Powerwall. It's not it's not on the approved vendor list for all of our lenders. So I would definitely sync up with your account executive with ESP to find out which finance products you can sell that with, and then go from there.
Love it. Yeah. Keep your eyes peeled. We'll probably do some more trainings on this, more webinars, more talking about this. A lot of cool new stuff happening. Watch this space. Technology's coming for us all to both benefit us and
Technology's
probably
coming for you.
Yeah, Skynet is here. But yeah, thanks for joining everybody. A lot of cool stuff.
Memorial Day weekend, guys. Honor those that serve. Be thankful for what they did for us,
Absolutely.
right? Obviously.
Absolutely.
So just get out there and have a great weekend.
A meaningful weekend. Here, before we go, Brandon, thank you so much for sending Brandon P, our esteemed guest. Thanks for sending this lovely shot of some bollards. So the design and style and everything may vary, but yeah, that's a beaut. That's a real pretty one. So very nice. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, just the example again, so nobody's gonna accidentally back into the system.
I
don't think that's
hit it. I'd find a way. No.
You'd find a way.
Sweet. Well,
Okay,
thanks for
Cool.
joining
perfect.
us. Stay tuned for the next FAQ. Take care, guys.
Okay, we'll
Over and
see you
out.
soon. Yep,
Bye, guys.
stay tuned for that email coming out, and happy selling. See you next time.